All right, all right. We got Shahla back with us today, and I decided last minute her paradigm should be included in the wrap up of the year. So we are going to go over hers for November and December. So, what is this month's paradigm, Miss Shahla?
So this month's paradigm comes from my own list of paradigms, and it is that everything happens for you, not to you. Did you want next month's, or do you
No,
want?
we're going to keep it
Okay.
a surprise, but I was just
Okay.
really honing in on how that ties beautifully with the last month's paradigm of in order to let go, you must move forward or you must let go of the one thing you're attached to. And for those of you who really struggled with that or are not even there yet, I think,
This can be an easier step, I feel.
yeah, I
It,
almost wish we would have went through it sooner. But go ahead. What's important in your coaching practice about this?
for me, this is all based on trust. Learning to trust, namely yourself. Like, yes, it's learning to trust the universe, God, source, but ultimately it's learning to trust yourself that you are creating a life where when you shift your perspective that things are happening for you, things are always, always, always in your favor, even in times when it doesn't feel like it is. Keeping that trust within yourself that you're going to make it through it, that things are happening for you and not to you. Like, what's a great example? Do you have any examples that come to mind for you?
My latest example was in 2016 or 2017 when my staff and I were laid off 2 days before Christmas Eve out of the blue. I had already intended to give my notice after the holiday in like January, February to transition to coaching, but um, they walked in and notified us that the corporation that I was within had switched contracting companies to manage their fitness center. And I was devastated because I had just hired two new employees that had just gotten in the groove, gotten in their 90 days, started getting benefits, and then boom.
Wow. And
And
so, how is that something that happened for you and not to you?
it allowed me to be able to step back. To be honest, my biggest transition was to not take it personally and feel like I let the two associates that I had down at the time. I made it about me in the beginning. I was very destructive, depressed, scared shitless. But through the transition of then I got to enjoy the holidays for what they were because there wasn't that angst of like having to go back to corporate, and that spaciousness then allowed, and we're talking like 6 to 9 weeks into the unemployment world of receiving it as a gift, that I could slow down and connect with what was really in alignment on how I wanted to live my life. I got to focus on the one thing I love, which was creating a coaching practice. I got to re-go through all the lessons I had learned and really coach myself as a client so I could up level and serve from a greater space moving forward.
That's wonderful.
So a lot opened up. It's just I had to get out of my head first to be able to absorb it. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. As I'm thinking of different, what's been your hardest obstacle to help one of your clients overcome in the realm of trusting the 4 versus 2?
Ooh. Um, God, that's a really good question. My hardest obstacle. Um, I had a client who really stuck in that everything is happening to her. Very stuck in it. And it's been a continual process of trust, of being able to continuously show her where things are happening for her. I mean, I'm not going to say that she's there yet, but I know that she's made leaps and bounds from where she was originally.
As you're talking and as a coach, my tendency is to want to try to fix everything for someone who is in like a stressed out, suffering, scarcity space. And what I have found helpful for not only myself when I'm in these realms of it's happening to me, is to have a gratitude journal of things that are happy, as well as what you're winning at today.
Absolutely. I do the same.
In addition to that, meditation or some sort of yoga practice to enhance your spirituality and your connection to something greater is what will help you establish a sense of connectedness that will build the trust.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. With this client specifically, we really focused on creating these lists like you spoke about, but also really finding where the joy lives in her body. Like, what part of her body does that live in? And how can she connect to it every day?
Mm. And what practice did she decide to do?
For her, it was actually her feet. Her joy lived in her feet, so she danced.
Oh, hey, I can get down with some dancing. Yes.
Like, yeah, and it's something that it was a real surprise for her that as she was scanning her body, finding that was where her joy lived.
Beautiful. Well, I don't know if I have much more to say in regards to the clarity and the freedom that one's well-being will experience when they apply the belief of everything happens for you, not to you.
I agree. It's a major game changer, and it's something that takes continual work.
Again,
I know that for me, this is ingrained in me. That's why it's one of my paradigms, and I still have trouble from time to time where it'll just be like, oh, I feel like this is just, it's not going right. And then I'll just take a breath and be like, no, I know it's happening for me. I don't know what's happening here, but it's happening for me. This is going to turn out so good in ways that I don't even understand.
I know.
I just stick with it.
There are times. What?
And it always does. It always turns out amazing.
I know, but that's not to say that there's not some pissed off times where you're like days of like, oh, what's the positive intention? What's the gift in this bullshit, right? Like, I'm telling you, I get superheated, people. But
all right, well, thank you, Alyssa.
Yes, the universe is only ever guiding you towards what you are capable of experiencing and your brilliance that you are to make in the world. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you next month. Shahla, as always, it's been a pleasure. I love you.
I love you. Mwah.
Ciao, ciao.